Black here for our fifth installment of 52 Weeks of Green Lantern. This is our fifth #1, and as such, it's going to be quite a bit, probably a longer episode than normal. Now, first off, I'm going to be looking at the issue while I'm talking about it, so that may or may not result in a longer commentary. I don't intend to read it directly to you, but it should jog my memory on a few things, keep it moving a bit linearly, both of which are liable to make the video a little longer. You'll also see me looking off screen, possibly even being silent for a few seconds. So again, things that'll make it longer. After that, I'm going to give a bit of not a recap. After all, videos are short enough, you can go back and watch them, but I'll be giving some general thoughts on what I think of the 5 #1s that are relevant to this show and to my interest, Green Lantern. Now, there are a few other #1s that I am probably not going to pick up that I could be somewhat interested in. I'm going to wait for them in trade paperback. The thing is, you'll see when I get to the end, my feelings toward them just from what I've heard, thanks to Last Angry Geek, Linkara, and I can't remember if the guy from Laid Back Comics calls himself anything other than his initials. So I'm just going to say Laid Back Comics for now. If he has a screen name, I apologize. I know he generally posts under his initials, which might be what he prefers to be known as. I believe it's BAC. So, with that said, let's get on to Green Lanterns, New Guardians, lots of colors. So, we start, I'm actually going to look at the cover a bit. Yes, I'm going to talk about the cover. Why? Because just from the title combined with what went on during Brightest Day, think New Guardians, I'm thinking Hal Jordan, Atrocitus, Sinestro, Ganthet, Carol Ferris, Larfleeze, of course, and Indigo 1, I guess. So instead what we've got here, we've got Kyle Rayner, who is apparently trying to keep a bunch of power rings. Doesn't quite mesh with the comic. We've got Bleez. We've got one of Atrocitus's constructs. Atrocitus himself does not appear in this comic, which is interesting because there's an orange ring, so that means Kyle Rayner may or may not be the second orange ring bearer ever. Well, unless you count Hal, so the third. We've got Saint Walker. We've got terrible with names. I'm extremely terrible with names. Let me just see if his name shows up in the comic. You know what? I don't think his name is in this issue. Arkillo, I believe is his name. He's got his tongue back, I think. Let me back up and check on that. He does. Wait. Hard to tell if that's a tongue or not, actually. And we've got her name too. On this one, it's not, oh, Fatality, there we go. It's not so much that I forget her name, it's that they keep bringing her up as though she's somebody everybody knows. I have no idea what story she originated in. I'll probably read it for phosphorescent panels, but as of this point, my knowledge of Fatality is extremely limited. So, basically we've got second tier, second in commands of all the corps, which kind of makes sense because the reboot did some stuff with all the first in command. I don't know why it's Bleez and not Atrocitus, but Bleez is sort of on her way up to being the new Atrocitus. She's more under the thrall of her ring, which kind of makes her better wielder of rage, but less of an independent character, which is pretty much what I can say about all of these. I mean, Saint Walker, yeah, he's alright, but he's basically just his ring. Arkillo barely speaks. He basically exists as Sinestro's right-hand man. You know, and that's sort of the type of people we've got here. So, let's look at the comic itself. We see Ganthet standing over the fallen Guardians, which means, I guess, Emerald Dawn happened somehow in, you know, the 5 years since Hal got his ring. That's the DCNU for you. It looks a lot better than Emerald Dawn. You know, Ganthet gets emotional and everything. You know, it's all cool. The thing about this sequence, though, it goes back through Kyle, you know, getting his ring. Goes out back to take a piss. There's no mention of the bum that saw him, because, you know, he wouldn't piss on a bum. So, I guess most of, you know, Kyle's early adventures are the ones getting bit off. That still leaves us with quite a bit of Green Lantern continuity to go to sort out what's going to be in this 5 years and what wasn't. But hey, again, that's the problem with this whole reboot. So, Ganthet gives the ring to Kyle. And what does he say now? He says, you have the ability to overcome great fear. Now, that's true about Kyle now. You know, but that was supposed to be the whole point. That was the whole thing that Kyle felt distinguished him from the other Green Lanterns, was that he was not this great willpower type figure. He was not this incredibly fearless type character. He was just a regular guy. He, over time, became a hero, learned to overcome his fear, and that's how he became a great Green Lantern. Now, this is sort of saying, no, he was chosen because he was a great Green Lantern to begin with. So, what I'm wondering is if this comic is going to make him out to be some sort of chosen one type figure. As we follow through the rest, we see various lanterns of other corps that enter into combat. They're winning. Their ring flies away. They're left to the tender mercies of their opponents. The first person we actually see react to this is Fatality. Comes across a Star Sapphire who's just lost her ring and goes after it. We then see Kyle helping out some people. A bunch of rings show up. They wanted to induct him into their corps. A bunch of people show up accusing him of stealing rings. And we go on to the next episode. Still interesting though. All this talk about stealing rings, you'd really think Larfleeze would be in on this. But Larfleeze has not yet appeared in the DCNU as far as I know. So, that's pretty interesting to me. I don't know why. I don't know if it was just an oversight. I don't know if it's because they weren't sure how to pull it off with, you know, considering there's only one orange ring in existence. But what do I think of this issue? Now, without rambling, you know, I pretty much read the comic to you, which I said I wouldn't do. I've already gone longer than most of the other episodes. What do I think of it? Well, my explanation of the cover pretty much tells you what it is. It's second stringers trying to pull off a first string comic. So, in that way, it's sort of declaring itself second rate. Now, the fact of the matter is, Green Lantern hasn't really distinguished itself as a first string anything. Green Lantern Corps, the whole thing of, you know, they're not honor guards anymore, they're just two Green Lanterns. Red Lanterns is not really showing itself to be a tremendously epic comic either, so either my expectations are too high or this is pretty much setting itself along the lines of the others. It's, you know, settling in its place. Now, considering the reactions I've heard about some of the Batman spin-offs, Superman books, this might just be indicative of everything. This might be actually one of the better franchises. You know, a lot of people seem to really like all of these Green Lantern books. I believe BAC from Laid Back Comics has put, I think, all of them except for Red Lanterns in his good options. I think. Check him out, you know, to be sure. Linkara, I think, had pretty much the same opinion. Last Angry Geek, I think, had pretty much the same opinion. I'm the only one I know of who's pretty much said I think they're all mediocre. So, have I been spoiled by Volume 4? Yes, definitely. Rebirth is the standard that I'm looking at, and this is not going to match it, period. So, there's a little bit of that. I'm still pretty excited about New Guardians. It's probably the book I'm most excited about right now. And I hope issue 2, you know, I hope issue 2 keeps it mysterious, but at least gets them thinking about it, you know, resolves, takes a step towards something. I understand each issue isn't supposed to be a full story in itself, you know, that's what the trade is for. But I like stories. I don't like set up with no, you know, with the climax left as a cliffhanger. Which, you know, just me. Might be one of the reasons why I never took to actually collecting comics, even though I enjoy reading them. But, that's it. So, I sort of already started talking about our next topic, which is what do I think of our 5 number ones? And that is, I think everything is average, mediocre. I think they're taking too many ideas and trying to shove them into one. I mean, we're already... Hal Jordan as Green Lantern has 50 years of continuity. Now, let's say Infinite Crisis erased 25 of those years. Okay. 25 years left. I mean, you could say Volume 4 was all that there was left. But that's not even true. Kyle Rayner's only origin was in Volume 3. John and Guy, I think they were in Volume 2, but well, Volume 2 is sort of, you know, hit by Infinite Crisis. So even if we're discounting Volume 2, Volume 3 has, you know, it's got a lot of history that went on to impact Volume 4. So, you know, Emerald Dawn, everything leading up to Emerald Dawn. The fact that, you know, Hal would have had to become a pretty powerful Green Lantern for Emerald Dawn to have ever happened. You know, no rookie Green Lantern, having had his ring for a year or two, could kill all the Guardians. So, it's because of that things seem kind of out of left field for that reason. I'm not talking about New Guardians anymore, so let's take that off. Otherwise, you know, I also think my standards are a bit higher than they should be, but we've had a really good few years for DC Comics. You know, it's what brought me back into comics. I don't change my plans for the year. I still plan to keep reading. I want to go through 52 weeks of Green Lantern. When these are collected in trade, then I'll be reviewing them on phosphorescent panels. And I hope that some of my more negative expectations are proven to be wrong. You know, that I'm a bit pessimistic. I honestly don't have too many optimistic expectations right now, but with some of the writers we've got, they can prove me wrong on that as well. So, hope they do. Till then, I'll see you next week on 52 Weeks of Green Lantern with Red Lanterns number 2.